The court will now consider the video's central claim. Lock someone in a room for 100 days, and you discover something profound about human endurance. The evidence begins confidently. A sterile white room, a countdown, a $500,000 incentive. But before we accept the verdict, we have to ask a simpler question. Is this really an experiment about endurance, or is it a television-sized pressure cooker designed to manufacture emotional decisions? The early check-in and rule explanation established the premise clearly, and that's one thing the video genuinely does well. The audience understands what success looks like. Clarity matters because without clear constraints, there is no meaningful challenge. The problem is that clarity of rules is not the same thing as clarity of conclusions. Notice how quickly the calendar becomes the video's main witness. Every crossed-off day suggests mounting proof that persistence is extraordinary. But elapsed time is not evidence by itself. We never learn enough about sleep, routine, mental health support, or the unseen structure that turns one day into the next. Duration becomes a substitute for explanation. Day 11 looks almost ordinary. Eating, reading, existing. That is the philosophical twist hidden inside the spectacle. Humans are remarkably good at adapting to terrible circumstances. Ironically, the video keeps needing bigger events because ordinary adaptation is less dramatic than viewers expect. Now the evidence gets more interesting. Around the later milestones, visible frustration replaces novelty. Here, the strongest part of the argument also becomes its biggest vulnerability. We clearly see emotional strain, but we cannot separate what comes from isolation itself and what comes from knowing an audience is waiting for a breaking point. Then comes the money reminder. $500,000 hangs over every decision like a closing argument. That's effective because it forces viewers to ask what they would tolerate. It's also morally strange. The challenge isn't simply surviving isolation. It's pricing your own discomfort in public. When the hosts appear again, the premise quietly changes. The story becomes negotiation rather than observation. Every visit, temptation, or conversation reshapes the conditions. That's entertaining, but it weakens any claim that we're watching a clean test of resilience. We're watching resilience under continual narrative interference. A brief pause for the defense. If someone offered me $500,000 to stay in a minimalist cube, I'd spend at least 3 days convinced the ceiling tiles were developing personalities. The video earns laughs because prolonged isolation really does make tiny details feel enormous. That's one psychological truth it captures surprisingly well. So what has actually been proven? Not that anyone can reduce human resilience to a countdown. Instead, the footage demonstrates something subtler. People build routines, attach meaning to arbitrary milestones, and keep negotiating with themselves long after the excitement disappears. That's a richer conclusion than the title promises, even if the video never quite says it aloud. My verdict is partly supported, not fully proven. The emotional evidence is real. The psychological observations are persuasive. But the broader implication that this challenge reveals some definitive truth about endurance reaches beyond what the footage alone can establish. The spectacle is honest about discomfort, less honest about how much the production itself shapes that discomfort. If you enjoy taking big internet spectacles apart piece by piece instead of accepting the headline, come back for the next verdict. Those are usually where the strongest claims hide their weakest assumptions.